The door didn't make a sound when it opened. No click, no creak, nothing dramatic, just silence. And I remember standing there in the dark hallway with my suitcase still in my hand, thinking for half a second. Maybe they're asleep, maybe the lights are off because it's late. Maybe I'm about to have one of those stupid movie moments where I surprise my wife and she laughs and everything feels right again, you know what I mean? Then I heard it, a laugh, not hers. A man's laugh, low and comfortable. The kind of sound someone makes when they think they belong. And it was coming from upstairs from my bedroom, and my stomach dropped so hard it felt like my body forgot how to breathe. I took a step, then another, slow, almost careful, like moving too fast would shatter something I wasn't ready to lose yet. And when I reached the stairs, I saw the light spilling out from a half-open door. My door, and right before my eyes could fully focus on what was inside, a hand covered my mouth from behind, small hand shaking, and a voice whispered right into my ear, "Sir, please be quiet." That was Lena, our housekeeper, and in that moment I didn't understand why she was stopping me, but I trusted her without even thinking. And inside the room my wife laughed again, soft and easy, and something inside me cracked so quietly I didn't even realize it until later. Earlier that day I wasn't supposed to be anywhere near home. I was supposed to be overseas closing a deal everyone thought would take weeks. My assistant knew, my security team knew, my wife knew. She kissed me goodbye that morning with that familiar smile, told me to be safe, said she'd miss me, and I smiled back like a fool. Because back then I still believed love was simple, that if you worked hard and stayed loyal, the universe kind of balanced things out. Yeah, that was me. What she didn't know was the deal wrapped up early, insanely early. Papers signed, hands shaken, money moved, and I stood in that hotel room staring out the window thinking, I'm gonna surprise her. I actually said it out loud and laughed. Booked the next flight home. No calls, no messages. I wanted it to be perfect. See, I didn't grow up with money, not even close. I grew up poor enough that hunger felt normal and quiet felt safer than attention. My mom worked herself into the ground and still smiled like everything was fine. Rain leaked through the ceiling. Kids at school laughed at my shoes, my clothes, my everything. And I learned early how to keep my head down, how to take hits without reacting, how to survive by staying calm. And when I finally made something of myself, built companies from nothing, I promised I'd build a peaceful life, and my wife was supposed to be part of that peace. She came into my life gentle, beautiful, always saying the right thing, laughing at my dumb jokes, telling me she loved me before I ever said it, crying when I proposed, or at least I thought she cried. We had the big wedding, the photos, the applause, and I believed I'd won at life. Yeah, that happened. What I didn't know was that she never loved me. She loved what I represented, the money, the security, the status, and the whole time she belonged to someone else, a guy named Kellen, charming in that dangerous, lazy way, always dreaming big but never working hard, the kind of guy who wants fast money and doesn't care who gets crushed on the way. When she told him she'd caught the attention of a rich man, he didn't get jealous. He smiled and told her to marry me, said they'd be patient, said it was business, and she listened. Even after the wedding, even after moving into my house, she kept seeing him just more carefully, or so she thought, because Lena noticed everything. She noticed the late nights, the cameras mysteriously going offline, the way my wife smiled differently when I was away. The strange visits explained away with lazy lies, and she wanted to tell me, but she knew how the world works, who believes a housekeeper over a polished woman with a perfect image. So she stayed quiet, watched, waited. And the night I came home early, she acted without hesitation. Back in that hallway, she gently pulled me away from the door and slipped her phone into my hand, whispering for me to record. And through the crack, I heard my wife say something that didn't just hurt, it woke me up. She laughed and said she'd accuse me of abuse, said the bruises were easy, said she'd take half my money and disappear with Kellen, and in that moment, the pain turned into something colder, clearer, because cheating is one thing, but planning to destroy someone's life is something else entirely. We backed away quietly, every step heavy, the house suddenly feeling fake like a set built on lies, wedding photos staring at me like they were mocking me. And when I closed the door to my study, I finally broke, sat down and shook in silence, watching the recording again and again until the shock settled into focus. Lena asked me what I'd do, and when I said nothing, not yet, even she looked confused. But I knew if I reacted too soon, they'd twist the story. Play victims erase evidence, so I let them think I was still away, still blind, still weak. I even went upstairs and walked into my bedroom like nothing happened. My wife acted shocked, hugged me, said she missed me, And I played along, kissed her forehead, smiled. Because sometimes the smartest move is letting people underestimate you, especially when they think you're harmless. The next few days were torture, pretending watching, listening while quietly calling lawyers, investigators, securing copies of recordings, tracking money instead of hiding it, and protecting Lena when she told me she was scared they'd hurt her if they found out she knew too much. Then one night she screamed loud, dramatic guards rushed in. My wife accused me of hitting her, pointed at fake bruises, cried like she deserved an award, and Kellen stood there pretending to be concerned, backing up every lie. When they asked if they should call the police, my wife said yes, demanded justice, and I surprised everyone by agreeing calmly, because I knew something she didn't. The truth was already recorded. I went in for questioning, stayed calm, said little. And when I came home, Lena showed me new recordings, my wife laughing, celebrating, saying I was finished and the world would believe her. And that was when I decided the truth needed a stage. I announced a public press conference and my wife thought it was part of the game, showed up, dressed for sympathy, crying on cue, Kellen at her side. And when I stood at the microphone, I didn't yell, I didn't rage, I just told the truth. Calmly, piece by piece, introduced Lena, played the recordings, let everyone hear my wife's own voice explaining how she planned to destroy me, and the room changed instantly. Shock, disbelief, reporters shouting my wife, screaming that it was fake Kellen trying to move away. And then the police stepped in and put the cuffs on them right there in front of everyone. You'd think that would be the end. But life doesn't work like that, because later that night I got a message from an unknown number with a photo of my mother's ring, the one thing from my childhood that mattered, and a threat telling me to come alone if I wanted my name protected. I didn't go alone, not really, but I walked into that old warehouse looking like I did, and Kellen was waiting, smiling like he still had control, telling me my father wasn't who I thought he was, trying to blackmail me with my past, demanding money in exchange for silence. And for a moment, I felt that old weight, that old shame from growing up with nothing, but then I realized something. Shame never stopped me before it built me. I smiled, called out. The officer's name, lights came on, officers rushed in. Kellen tried to run, failed, confessed on camera, and just like that, his last card burned. In court, the truth held. My wife and Kellen were found guilty, and when she begged me not to ruin her, I told her softly she'd already done that herself. Because that's the thing about lies, they always collapse under their own weight. When it was over, the house felt quiet in a good way, clean, and Lena stood there, afraid she'd be punished just for surviving, so I told her she wasn't just a housekeeper anymore. I sponsored her education, brought her into my foundation, because people who listen, who pay attention, who stay calm under pressure, those people matter. Weeks later, my name stabilized, my companies recovered, and I visited my mother's grave with that ring in my pocket and told her I was okay. Now that I finally understood something important, being quiet doesn't mean being weak. Sometimes it's how you see the truth clearly enough to win. But here's the part I want you to think about, because even after everything I got, one last message. No threat this time, just a photo taken inside my house that night. I came home early, showing not 2 people in that bedroom, but 3, a shadow in the corner, someone watching, someone who knew I was coming, and I still don't know who that was or what they wanted. So let me ask you this, if you were in my place, would you dig deeper and risk tearing everything open again?